Oh my goodness, week one is finally here. We preview the Thursday night game. I can't believe football is back, and we've got some undrafted gems on the show today. Do not miss this episode.
Fantasy Footballers is brought to you by Head & Shoulders and Walmart. NFL fans always love arguing whether offense wins games or defense wins championships. And we all know Head & Shoulders is great offense for your hair.
Oh, no, Mike. It is great defense against flakes.
Sure, no matter where you fall on the offense versus defense debate, Head & Shoulders will give you a 100% flake-free scalp. Find Head & Shoulders on Walmart.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from pristineauction.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Welcome to the show. It's going to be spectacular.
It's real, and it's spectacular.
Wednesday, September 4th. I like Seinfeld references, Mike.
You are welcome.
You win the day. Welcome into the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Jason Moore, Mike the Fantasy Hitman Wright. I'm Andy Holloway. We've got a great one. Buy and sell on the show today. Some news, some big news, some big money news. Some undrafted gems and a Thursday night preview. The fantasy season is upon us.
Oh, tomorrow.
We'll talk about what's in store for David Opportunity, Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers. All the Aarons will be discussed. And I'm excited. You can follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers, the website. I encourage you to go check it out. TheFantasyFootballers.com, our week one rankings. The start-sit tool. The in-season shenanigans begin now.
Yes.
And based on what I was seeing last night, you're very, very interested in week one.
Oh.
The Foot Clan is ready for real football, as am I. And last night we also had the first two Megalo Bowl drafts take place.
Ooh.
And my goodness.
Hundreds of draft rooms filled with the Foot Clan, all vying for fantasy glory and that spot in the Listener League 2020.
Also, heard your feedback about the auto. So occasionally you had like an auto-drafted person that popped into a Megalo Bowl. They just couldn't be there for the draft. We got some feedback about how that took quite a while to get through the drafts. We passed that along. That's going to be improved, fixed for next year.
We've also removed those people from the earth.
Really?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm
We
not
take
taking
this
responsibility
very
for
serious.
that.
Look, they're fine. They're on the space station.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
I didn't say
Now we're safe.
we're hurting people. We just removed them.
But lots of drafts yesterday, today for the Megalo Bowl, and then obviously tomorrow, week one begins, Bears-Packers, and we'll talk about it on the show today. There's still time to go win a signed Alvin Kamara jersey at FootClanGiveaway.com. And I want to tease out the next couple of days. Thursday, Friday, we'll have Fantasy Forecast. We'll have starts of the week. Jason's Boom Boom Kicker returns.
Oh, get ready.
Because us removing kickers from our league of record does not remove them from all leagues.
Unfortunately.
And so Jason's research, you normally begin around, like noon on Wednesday. You wrap that kicker research up by showtime tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I started months ago with deep preparation just for week one. I mean, get ready.
Yeah.
I love kickers.
Can we get that soundbite saved to his soundboard? Foot Clan Friday, coming up on Friday, in or out, all the injury reports, the second half of the fantasy forecast, and we got a new segment, Ballers on a Budget, that is coming on Friday, where it's basically our little DFS segment where we're going to give you some of the best priced players, our favorite picks for if you're playing.
It was Tony Pollard.
Yeah,
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. But it is Wednesday today, so we'll kick it off with some buy-sell.
Buy or sell, presented by Pristine Auction.
All right. Brooks has selected a number of week 1 buy or sell decisions.
Mm-hmm. He calls it faces in new places.
Yes. So we'll start with Mark Ingram. Will Mark Ingram surpass 100 rushing yards in week 1 against Miami?
Buy.
Bye, bye, bye.
Buy.
You both believe yes.
Purchase.
I'll sell it.
Buy.
No way.
I have not been the largest Mark Ingram supporter through the draft season. Yeah, I think Gus Edwards eats in a little bit, but this is the matchup that you're looking for. This is where you're a heavy favorite. You're going to run the clock out in the fourth quarter. You don't have a great defense in Miami. Mark Ingram, he'll cross 100 yards a few times this season. I would project a game like this to be the one where it gets done. Now, I would prefer that it's in Baltimore, but it is still Miami.
I think you'll get more Gus Bus than you hope.
I mean, my draft persona is happy.
Your draft persona?
Your what?
I'm saying the part of me that is draft focused. I've been more on the Gus Bus, and not just that Mark Ingram's going to get everything, but the week 1 persona.
You're saying it would be happy if you were wrong about your buy.
That is correct.
Okay.
Either way, I win.
Very confused
I
about
have
what's
no idea what's happening.
So you bought that Mark Ingram will have 100 rushing yards, but you're also happy if he doesn't.
I'm happy if Gus Edwards is the reason he doesn't.
All right. Buy, sell Antonio Brown, 100 receiving yards to open the season, week 1 against Denver. I will buy it.
I will sell it.
There you go.
I'm going to buy as well. He looked really good this last. Are you guys up to date on Hard Knocks?
I am not caught up. I have seen Luke Wilson get cut on Hard Knocks.
Oh, Luke Wilson.
The cuts are always hard because those are humans vying for jobs.
Can we
that are
not
getting
do
fired.
a better job than this long, prolonged, like one intern to the next intern handoff? Like, you know where you're going, but these poor souls have to walk with these players for like 15 minutes to bring them to a special cut room. Can we not text this at this point?
Right, they know what's going
Well, they
on.
want the human interaction. But,
Do they?
Well, the coach,
FaceTime.
The coach does.
FaceTime.
Maybe
them.
a couple people, but I wouldn't want to do that all day long.
Yeah, I'm going to buy Antonio Brown. I think they're going to force feed him the ball week 1, try to get their new shiny toy off to a hot start. This one is close. I'm really on the fence about Antonio Brown. 100 yards is a lot for
That's a
Derek
lot, man.
Carr.
I mean, last year, even as great as Antonio Brown was, he was only over 100 yards 5 times with Big Ben. So I will take the under.
That's fair.
I will
but
sell.
Week 1, he's got something to prove, wants to show he's the same guy. I'm going to go buy.
Is he going to throw himself the ball?
He doesn't need to. Odell Beckham Jr., week 1, new face, new place. Cleveland taking on Tennessee. 100 receiving yards for Odell week 1.
I will sell that as well.
I will sell it.
Look, Tennessee is not a terrible defense at all. And even though we're talking new face, new place, I would much rather have Baker Mayfield being my new face at quarterback over Derek Carr. There hasn't been enough time. I think we need some actual game action for Odell Beckham. Certainly could, but I'm going to sell this one.
Look, 3 names, 3 buys. I'm in.
Wow.
I think that the
Jason says the defense is going on break.
He just wants a great week 1.
Maybe I'm just too doggone excited for week 1 football, but
we'll know with number 4 if you're how
Odell
excited you
Beckham
are.
is widely right now. I think he's the consensus number 1 wide receiver on the week because some of the other top options have really tough cornerback matchups.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying Beckham's number 1. I mean, I would.
He
like,
was
with
when I
Hopkins
looked
and
yesterday.
Thomas. All right. Sure.
Not for me.
Yeah,
I'll sell
not
that
for me.
one. Lev Bell, 100 receiving,
Sell.
100 rushing yards.
Also sell.
With his debut. Mike, you're selling.
Yeah.
Jason, what are you
I
doing?
am selling. I don't buy it. Adam Gase and that offensive line. I will sell it until I have been proven wrong. I don't think he gets 100 yards.
Buffalo's a great defense on top of that.
All right. And then the last one, Duke Johnson. Does he reach 100 total yards?
Wow.
So not rushing, but rushing and receiving combined.
Are they adding him to the kick return game?
Interesting.
Because if not, then
doing all-purpose yards.
I will sell full-heartedly.
Okay.
I don't. I think Carlos Hyde still eats into the work. We brought up Alfred Blue and
I'll buy it.
You're buying.
I'll buy
100?
Duke Johnson 100 total yards. Yeah, I think he can. I think he can go 50-50. 50 on the ground, 50 through the air, no problem.
I
Week
will
one.
sell. This doesn't mean that he can't, because I think Duke Johnson's a great player. I'm very curious how many times in his career he's ever been over 100 yards. Because it can't be more than just a handful.
Yeah, it's probably not many, but I like him week one. That was buy or sell from Pristine Auction. You can go to pristineauction.com, use the registration code BALLERS, and you will get $5 towards a sports memorabilia purchase. Hundreds of daily auctions on there. Let's get into the news.
News and notes from around the league, presented by Sleeper.
All right, the Cowboys, they got it done. Ezekiel Elliott did what Le'Veon Bell could not do, which is show up for week one after an offseason of tumult.
Or Melvin Gordon.
Now, Zeke got a lot of money to show up. So
Yes, he did.
6 years, $90 million.
Woo! What a great offseason for Zeke. Like, he got out of everything. Rested his body through training camp, through preseason, whilst in Cabo, and then gets gigantic bags of money. He's doing it right.
So it's a done deal, which means we have to reconfigure the Tony Pollard experiment.
Right.
Right now, the Jane Slater from NFL Network, according to her report, 20 to 25 reps on Sunday.
Okay.
Rookie Tony Pollard behind him. I mean, you can't play Tony Pollard now.
No, you can't. I don't think – I mean, look, we've seen this before. In 2017, when Lev Bell held out for a long period of time, came back for week one, and still dominated that season, he only had 10 carries that week one. So it can happen but that doesn't mean that the backup is going to get a bunch of work and be valuable. I am still – like the question is being asked now, are you just – full force with Zeke week one, especially now they're talking about maybe, will the carries be there? I am without hesitation. There's no chance that I'm not starting Zeke week one.
They're paying him too much money not to give him the ball. He's in shape. He's in playing shape. He's ready to go. The Rams, surprisingly, not surprisingly that they would want to get it done, but surprising to all of us who didn't know it was taking place, Jared Goff signs a 4-year.
Jared!
Yes! Now introducing
Oh, hail!
the richest quarterback in the land, Jared Goff.
4 years,
You ran out of steam,
$134
man.
million. An NFL record, $110 million in guarantees.
What? I had missed that part.
Is Jared Goff this good?
I think Jared Goff is a very good quarterback. It took Sean McVay to unlock him, which I saw some people on Twitter, how good is Jared Goff without Sean McVay? Like,
Who cares?
does it matter?
Right.
Doesn't matter at all.
How good is Todd Gurley without Sean McVay?
How good is Sean McVay
Without Jared Goff?
Jared Goff. I mean, put in Blake Bortles, the backup, and see how great Sean McVay really is.
This is a huge part of the NFL. You work your butt off. You're the elite of the elite, and you finally make it to the NFL. And then sometimes you just get drawn a real bad hand. You end up on a bad team with a bad coaching staff who doesn't know how to use you, and you look like you suck. And sometimes you're not that great of a player, and you're in a perfect situation, and everybody loves you.
Well, I mean, you're 100% right. That is just the name of all professional sports.
It's the name of life.
That's how it goes. If Ezekiel Elliott and Melvin Gordon flip teams, I think you've got a totally different situation on your hands with Jerry Jones and what he's willing to do.
Melvin Gordon actually called Zeke and said, can we work this out?
Please. Maybe they'll pay both. Maybe that's the mysterious Melvin Gordon trade.
To the Cowboys.
Yeah. Two-headed monster. Gio Bernard signed a 2-year, $10 million extension.
Good for you, Gio.
Gio Bernard will be used.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm not moving Mixon down. I mean,
You're not.
No, because I already had Gio's usage work baked into Joe Mixon where I have him statted out.
That's fair because I think we all believed that Gio would be used, 10 to 15 touches a game, maybe 8 to 12, somewhere in that range.
I think more in the 8 to 12 range. But
Gio was there for 12 games last year, and Joe Mixon was fine. The other things around the Bengals, those are far more concerning to me than Gio eating workload.
Ian Rappaport reporting that Melvin Gordon, the trade rumors, it doesn't sound like a deal is going to happen because the Chargers are reportedly looking for a 2020 first-round pick along with a piece of Melvin Gordon's soul in a transaction.
Dude, it's just rough that the Chargers are saying, no, there's the discrepancy of how much money you want and we want to give you. You aren't worth it. Oh, but by the way, you are worth a 2020 first-round pick.
I think, and I will be the first to admit I have been on the optimistic Gordon side, which has been the wrong direction. I think there's a chance Melvin Gordon rolls up in week 2.
There's a chance, yes.
He's just going to accomplish nothing. He's going to accomplish nothing to just hold out. He's not getting paid a ton of money yet. He's going to lose $300-something thousand a game, and he's going to accomplish nothing not to show up.
Well, it's not nothing. He protects his body. He can't get hurt in an NFL game.
That is true.
If he's not playing.
That's a good point. But I think that there is a chance, and I'm not saying it's a guarantee or that I believe it's probable, but I think there's a decent chance that he shows up week 2.
Where, if you're still yet to draft, where would you draft him, Andy, with your idea? Because he's pretty much off my board. Like, I can't imagine taking him unless he's in the 12th. Because I think that the chance of him missing the whole season is as good as him coming back as early as week 2.
If I'm in the 9th round and I'm saying, man, I get to have Melvin Gordon in a shot on my team or Adrian Peterson, I'm going to take Gordon at this point. If I have to decide between Jordan Howard and Melvin Gordon, I'm going to take Gordon because I think there's enough of a chance that, substitute your desires for Kareem Hunt and draft Melvin Gordon. How about that?
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
So it's a tough situation for him because he's not going to get paid right now. He needs to reorient himself if he wants to get paid in the long term. And the Chargers seem to just be content moving forward with Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson and the players in camp. So I don't think I want to get into these unofficial depth charts.
I agree.
I don't think it's valuable.
Yeah, depth charts.
I would love to just pretend like it's really valuable because Matt Breida was listed at the number 1 spot and Tevin Coleman's at 2.
But you don't want to get to where Michael Crabtree's a starter.
That's the best part.
That's the best. Yes. Oh, Andy hates Michael Crabtree. This is so good. The depth charts don't matter.
The league is littered with a bunch of these veteran preferable situations. You just don't read into it very much.
No, I agree.
So I think that'll do it for news and notes. Brought to you as always by the Sleeper app. Get it or else. Apparently did I write that, Brooks?
Or else?
Did I say or else?
Yes, sir.
Or else you will miss the latest fantasy news.
I thought it might be or else we'll remove you from the earth.
Yeah, Mike.
We've done it before.
Mike acts like that's a real or else. Very severe language.
I turned people into scientists. That's what I did.
That's if you go to the space station, you become a scientist.
Yeah, you're an astronaut and you're doing science experiments.
That's 100% true. You have to be a scientist to be at the space.
You're growing plants up in space.
That's what Mike, I had no idea. You're teaching me so much today. We've got some undrafted gems we want to share with you.
Zero gravity pooping. Upgrade.
You think?
Maybe. It sounds like it might be difficult.
Seems like a little bit of trouble.
All right, before we get to our undrafted gems, we want to thank today's sponsors. FanDuel is a great platform to play. They've been a long-time sponsor of the show. We've partnered with them because their game is so much fun. This season, FanDuel has more ways to win cash prizes and once-in-a-lifetime experiences during every game, every week. In fact, Stay tuned soon. We're going to be talking about a very cool Fantasy Footballers FanDuel partnership that will be awesome for you guys. I know you guys will get excited. Don't get stuck in a lineup you regret. Oh, you got Melvin Gordon? Whoops.
Whoopsies.
You don't have to in FanDuel. You pick a new team every week. Injuries won't end your season. Plus, with the FanDuel app, you can bet anytime, anywhere, no matter how you like to play, there's a contest for you. Tournaments, beat the score, single game, mini, labs, and more. It is a great game, and new users get a $5 bonus with their first deposit. Get in on the action anywhere you want. Sign up for FanDuel now and get a $5 bonus with your first deposit of at least $5. Go to FanDuel.com/footballers or download the FanDuel app and see why FanDuel is way more than just fantasy sports. That's FanDuel.com/footballers.
All right, and with millions of live event tickets from sports to live music to comedy, SeatGeek has the tickets that you are looking for all in one place. And let's be honest, guys, right now you're probably looking to go to a game. You want to take in some of that action live. I want nothing more in my life than to watch Michael Crabtree run routes in front of my eyes for my home team. There's just nothing that would give me more joy. Don't you believe me? I have the SeatGeek app on my phone. I find it the easiest way to grab tickets anytime I want to. They rate every deal on a 1 to 10 scale, display them on an interactive seat map. Green dots, they mean good deals. Red dots, they are overpriced. There are 50,000 five-star reviews for the SeatGeek app. It's just easier. It's
I'm
just
one
better.
of them.
My sister's going to New York. She says, "Where'd you get your Hamilton tickets?" I said, SeatGeek. Gave her the link. Done. Got them. She's good to go. SeatGeek will even give you $10 off your first SeatGeek purchase. All you need to do is use our promo code. Download the SeatGeek app today. Use the promo code BALLERS for $10 off your first purchase. That is the promo code BALLERS for $10 off your first purchase.
Well, that's the story of my life. No respect. No respect.
All right, we're looking at some undrafted gems. So some players that are not currently being looked at all in drafts. They're just left off the draft board. I had a Mega Bowl draft yesterday, and you get to the end of that draft, and you're sitting there. Do I want to put Adam Humphries or Cole Beasley or Trey Quinn or these type of players on your roster? We each picked a couple of names. I'll go first. The two names I want to bring up as potential undrafted gems: Marquise Goodwin, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, and wide receiver Terry McLaurin of the Washington Redskins. And he was mentioned yesterday on the show. Mike, you brought it up.
I love it.
We'll start with Goodwin, though. I was a big Dante Pettis believer, and if you look at the unofficial depth chart yesterday, the starting wide receivers for the San Francisco 49ers are Dante Pettis and Marquise Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin is the fastest player in the National Football League. When he's healthy, he is a weapon, and we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo use him. I just think the gap between drafting Pettis in the 6th round and not drafting Marquise Goodwin makes very little sense to me with the kind of up and down news that we've seen from Dante Pettis. At least right now, Deebo Samuel is not atop this depth chart. Jalen Hurd is hurt. Trent Taylor is hurt. So Marquise Goodwin, I think, could be one of those 5-10 players that surprise people in week 1.
Yeah, he could show up easily as a waiver wire week 1 type of player.
Yeah, and then Terry McLaurin, rookie wide receiver. There's not a lot in Washington as far as options. And if you're looking at what Washington has to play for, are we going to develop Dwayne Haskins? Are we going to develop our rookie wide receiver? Josh Doxson has been released. You've got Paul Richardson. You've got Trey Quinn. And then you've got Terry McLaurin, who's had great camp reports and has the rapport already built in with Dwayne Haskins. So keep an eye on him. When you define an undrafted gem, what's the message that you have for the listener?
I'm looking for a player that I can stash at the end of my bench that I'm trying to get ahead of the waiver wire run. Like, I think that they have a chance to do something, and then they're already on my team. I've saved that fab. I've saved that waiver priority on this player, and if they do nothing, They were undrafted for a reason. I mean, these guys, these are long shots. Almost all the players at the end of the draft are long shots. So going for an undrafted gem, you're talking long shot, but massive upside, massive savings. The players that I want to throw out, I want to talk about him. Miami Dolphins wide receiver Albert Wilson.
I like that.
It just keeps getting better for Albert Wilson and his opportunity. Yes, the Dolphins are going to trust the process. They have sold out. They will still have some production, and Albert Wilson, he's it. He's it in the passing attack. Kenny Stills was kind of the other option, but they have sent him out of town. He's now on the Houston Texans. The Devontae Parker experiment still continues, but Albert Wilson's actually a good player. He's fast. He's got 4.4 speed. You saw it all last year that big plays can happen. Just get Albert Wilson the ball in space, and big plays can happen. In reception perception, he has a 98th percentile success versus zone. And he's going to see a lot of zone because he will be the slot wide receiver. He's also the slot wide receiver for a new coaching staff, including Chad O'Shea, who was the wide receiver coach for the Patriots for 10 years. And we have seen the Patriots have massive success with the slot wide receiver. And Albert Wilson could fill right into that role.
I don't think Albert Wilson goes undrafted if he doesn't have the injury last year. I
completely agree.
I think he's the most hyped, heralded, excitable, fantasy exciting player on this team if he doesn't have the injury. And then you got the changeover at the quarterback position in the coaching staff. So there's all these murky kind of variables, but they're starting to, Kenny Stills being traded away, Wilson looking good.
Wilson's ready to go.
Right. So it's starting to look fine.
With a team like the Dolphins, you want a player who can make something out of nothing. You know what I mean? It's not that the Dolphins are some great offense where they're putting up so many points that you just want whoever the wide receiver one is. You want a guy who, on a certain game, maybe they're down, maybe it's the beginning or late in the game, and it just takes one play where all of a sudden he's so fast and electric, you just take a screen to the house.
I'm guessing the Dolphins are going to be seeing a lot of negative game scripts, which turns into passing.
I concur.
So does Vegas.
So who's your second pick?
It's not as exciting as Albert Wilson. I really want to stash Albert Wilson, but starting running backs are very hard to find, and as of now, until further notice, Frank Gore is still the starting running back for the Buffalo Bills. I know we're very excited. The fantasy community is very excited to see what Devin Singletary can do, but I think the removal of LaShawn McCoy just entrenches Frank Gore as the starter, at least for the short term. This isn't you're going to hold on to Frank Gore and all season ride him out to the regular Frank Gore RB12 finish, but at the worst, it's a timeshare with which I believe Frank Gore will see the higher end of the timeshare. So I'm just interested to see week one. Does Frank Gore go right out of the gate, and Frank Gore is getting 15-plus carries?
If you want to hear the full breakdown on the Singletary situation, Frank Gore, we talked about it a lot on yesterday's show. I'm curious if I can dive into it for just 2 seconds here.
Sure.
I'll allow it.
I'm curious what your thoughts are. Just, people want to see what Singletary can do, but he's a really small guy.
Yes.
I mean, he's a 200-pound, 5'7" running back.
Baffling.
He did not, score in, none of the workout metrics did he impress in any way, shape, or form. I remember not liking the college tape very much. I thought he's looked fine in the preseason, but I'm starting to wonder
if he just stinks. If he comes out and can't hang.
Even if he doesn't stink, does the team view him as this guy that, why would they move on from Gore at any point during the season and just hand the whole backfield to Singletary?
I don't think they will.
I just am thinking it's going to be more committee-based. I think the team's going to be better than people think. I think they're going to ride those rails throughout the season, which doesn't make me think they're going to just try to turn to Singletary. I just am starting to just wonder what that looks like in the backfield and whether Gore will be there as a thorn in the Singletary owner's side throughout the season.
And Singletary, he is absolutely baffling. He's a smaller guy. He's not off the charts athletically. In fact, he's quite under the charts.
He's down beneath the charts. He's looking up at the charts.
But his college production profile is absolutely massive. He did it on a really bad team, and he won with power.
Yeah,
but he's small, and so can he translate winning with power?
15 bench reps, 12th percentile.
I'm saying he is a very confusing player. The Bills do see something. I just believe that Frank Gore is going to be used more than drafting Singletary in the mid to late rounds and not drafting Frank Gore at all.
I think if you're in a deep league, like a 14-team league with 2 flexes, something like that, Gore is very valuable because he's just guaranteed use. Otherwise, though, I'm not excited about Gore because
I'm not excited.
Sure, but I mean, you brought up like undrafted gems. You're looking to scoop someone up before the waiver claims go nuts on this guy after week 1.
Now, we all agree Frank Gore's best days are ahead of him, right?
Probably. He is infinite. He is all. He is Frank Gore.
Sorry to cut you off.
So I'm trying to find, but I agree. Like, you can't have enough running backs. Like he is currently a starting running back, and you need running backs. That's why one of my undrafted gems is Gio Bernard. Just paid. They're not paying him to not use him, and he is in the situation where there is a world where he becomes better, right? Joe Mixon goes down, and all of a sudden Gio
is a stud. If Gio's he's not a handcuff because he has standalone value, but he has that handcuff built into him.
Exactly. So that's why I'd rather stash a guy like Gio who could change into a star. If Devin Singletary goes down, Frank Gore doesn't really get that much better. It's like, oh, we're going to give you 5 or 6, a couple more carries a game.
I went through the motions with Gio in the Mega Bowl draft yesterday. It's a 2-flex league. Last couple rounds, he's sitting there, and I'm just like, I just don't know what Joe Mixon, to me, can overcome a lot of the problems on the offensive line, and I just don't think Gio with 8 to 12 touches a week will ever do anything for you. So I'm personally not in on that as a pick unless you're in a super, super deep league.
It's a PPR flex type of move.
It's a PPR flex, and it's really the handcuff upside. I mean, you're not excited about Gio, or you're not going to be using Gio when Joe Mixon is, out there getting all of the work unless you're in one of those deep PPR leagues. But if Joe Mixon goes down, then you've got a star before the waiver wire goes. The 2 players that I am more excited about, I want to throw out Miles Boykin. We haven't talked about him a lot. He's a rookie wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. He wasn't even the first rookie wide receiver drafted by the Baltimore Ravens because Hollywood Brown went in the first round to Baltimore, but he's been dealing with his injury from college. He's not
a Liz Frank injury.
Yeah, he's not up to 100% right now. He didn't get camp with Lamar Jackson. Miles Boykin, the buzz around town in Baltimore is that he could very well establish himself as the number 1, and he is the exact opposite of under the charts when it comes to workout metrics. I mean, he's a 90-plus percentile.
He's up above him.
He's like looking down at those graphs. He's saying, look at this graph. So, thank you, Mike.
Yes. I saw where you were going.
He is an athletic monster. He's 6'4", runs a 4.42. He's great across the board. He's not like a DK Metcalf where it's like, oh, he's great in a straight line, but if he tries to move side to side or quick little bursts, he's uncoordinated. This guy's a true different breed of athlete. He's great against press coverage. Matt Harmon loved him in reception perception, and every reason I like Mark Andrews. The fact that he's a big-bodied guy that could emerge, that could also be true of Boykin. And then the last name I'll throw out, Anthony. Oh, okay. You want Boykin on it.
Boykin, greater sign McLaurin for this year.
I agree.
That's where I'm at. I just wanted to put that out there because you brought up Boykin. I brought up McLaurin, both rookies, both with opportunity. But I like Boykin more than I do McLaurin. And I think, when you look at what Lamar Jackson had success with last year, I brought this up. Warren Sharp was talking about this. Like, Lamar Jackson struggled when he was put in a position like these forced passing downs, 3rd down and long. He struggled throwing in those situations. He was very good when he threw early in the drive, 1st and 2nd down throws. So I just think if there's a rapport there, Andrews, Boykin, those could be 2 of the main guys for this season.
If Boykin comes out week 1 and gets 8, 9, 10 targets, I think you're going to have a mad dash to the waiver wire. I'm not usually in on early season rookie wide receivers, but this is a free one. This is an undrafted guy that costs you nothing. So what? Grab him. If he pops in week 1, you've already got him. If he doesn't, then move on because he was undrafted anyways. And Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller is a guy that –
Is he undrafted now?
Yeah,
because of the injury.
The injury kept him out of preseason and out of a little bit of camp. He was a guy that when he was – I forget where he was, like the 10th round, I was loving his value there until the injury. Now the injury – caused his value to be undrafted. He's on the waivers. He's the second wide receiver, a second-year wide receiver as well for the Chicago Bears.
It's also not on the injury report, in case you're curious.
That's what I was going to bring up. He's not even on the injury report for this first week. You know who is? Trey Burton. Trey Burton is dealing with a lot of issues this whole camp. So part of the reason that you had hesitations with Anthony Miller was there's a lot of mouths to feed there. But maybe with Burton a little, under the weather physically, you have more opportunity for Anthony Miller. He was awesome as a rookie, even though he hurt his shoulder and had to have shoulder surgery after the season. 7 touchdowns as a rookie. He flashed a lot. So he's a guy that I would also keep an eye on. I'd be fine with him or Miles Boykin stashing those guys.
Anthony Miller, greater sign. Miles Boykin, greater sign. Terry McLaurin. I took Anthony Miller in the 9th round of a 12-team Megalo Bowl yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he's a good wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, we liked him. He's been in the ultimate draft kit until the injury stuff happened, but that was just after Deshaun Jackson. That was ahead of Corey Davis, James Washington, Michael Gallup.
Okay, you're saying other people's picks.
Correct.
Okay. I thought you were saying
my own pick.
Yeah, and I was scared for you.
No, it's kind
Corey Davis.
It's kind of funny because I took Anthony Miller in the 9th. I took Marquise Goodwin in the 12th round, just for a deep shot. It's a 2-flex league. You need to have somebody you can play, not just wait on. That's the hard part. You draft those guys. These are all players that hopefully something early, quickly. Move on if you're not interested. So that is it for Undrafted Gems. You guys want to talk about real football?
Yes! Oh, my goodness.
Thursday Night Breakdown.
It's been too long, my sweet friend.
Wait, one friend? Which friend are you referring to?
I'm referring to football.
Oh, okay. All right.
The best friend.
The best friend of all.
My best friend. Sorry, guys.
The Green Bay Packers take on the Chicago Bears in week 1. The Bears are 3-point home favorites. It's a 46-point over-under.
It's not bad.
And this is these two teams faced off week 1 last year, did they not?
They certainly did. That's where Aaron Rodgers, right before halftime, everyone thought Aaron Rodgers was done for the season.
Little Willis Reed action.
And then came back and, was it 3 touchdowns to come back and win the game?
Yep, 24-23. Big comeback.
Yes.
And here we are. Aaron Rodgers. Mitch Trubisky. David Montgomery gets his first opportunity of the season. Aaron Jones. This is the week of conclusions. The wrong kind. You remember Office Space? The jump to conclusions mat?
Oh, yes.
All the fantasy players, they break that mat out this year. I'm worried about people breaking it out in week 1.
Of course we are, because
for Aaron Jones.
The only thing better than taking a preseason victory lap is a week 1 victory lap, because it's for real. It's locked and loaded.
It feels so good.
I win. It's over.
You guys remember Mike Gillisley? Was that 3
touchdowns
week 1?
Oh, yes, I do.
Looked great. Oh, Jordan Howard getting out to that pass-catching role. Yeah, last year. Yeah, and then that didn't hold up. Yeah, I'm just hoping that this game is a lot better than last year's kickoff. If you remember,
what are you talking about? It was great.
The Falcons-Eagles?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Bears-Packer game. No. It's like that was incredible.
No, I'm talking about the NFL kickoff that I was so excited for last year, and then it was just 12 to 18.
Aaron Jones may have a rough go to begin the season. Let's start with with Aaron Jones. I think we all like the upside. The Bears last year allowed the fewest rushing touchdowns. I looked it up this morning. It was one touchdown per 67 rushing attempts. To put that in context, Aaron Jones averaged a touchdown every 16 attempts last year. The Bears are special against the run. They had the second lowest early down run success rate. Running backs struggle against the Bears defense we saw last year. They gave up the least amount of fantasy points to the running back position, the third fewest to the quarterback position. They were just a great defense. We all know that. So if you believe in Aaron Jones, you really shouldn't not believe in him if he struggles in week 1.
Yes, that's very true. The big thing to watch for me is not, do I play Aaron Jones this week? You drafted Aaron Jones in the third round, maybe the fourth round. You're playing Aaron Jones. You're watching this to see if Jamal Williams is in the game more than you thought or hoped he would be.
Yeah, and this is a game where the Packers could get down, in which case you're watching to see if Aaron Jones is the pass-catching back and utilized in that way to a greater degree because, the last several years, Aaron Rodgers hasn't targeted the running back as much. I mean, he loves to look downfield, but the camp reports are the amount of screens and setup for Aaron Jones in the passing game. So that's one of the things you're going to be watching for. He's going to be started. He's my running back 18 this week, so I don't have this as a great week for him, but still an RB2 range. If he is involved in the passing game as we expect, he should be fine, even if the game turns a little bit south.
The second matchup for Aaron Rodgers and the Bears last year, Rodgers had 274 yards, 42 pass attempts, 0 touchdowns in the Bears' victory in Week 15. I think a lot of fantasy owners are curious about go beyond the guys that, you spent a high draft pick on Devontae Adams, you play him. You spent a high draft pick on Aaron Jones, you're going to play him.
Yep.
But some of these later round picks, seeing, whether it's Geronimo Allison or Marquez Valdez-Scantling, can you really roll either of those guys out there in week 1 with any sort of optimism?
No.
Not with confidence. I mean, perhaps you're in a 3-wide flex league and you have to play them because they were both Geronimo and MVS. They kind of went around the same range, that 8-9 area, so you might be forced into playing them. Hopefully you don't have to. This was a hard part of drafting. I mean, spending that early pick on Aaron Rodgers, knowing that week 1 he's got to go up against the Chicago Bears. And the same for Geronimo and Marquez. I would prefer to sit and see how that shakes out. It will be interesting because Geronimo and Marquez are, allegedly they're changing positions, where last year in his short action, Geronimo was an outside receiver. Marquez in his rookie year, he was in the slot, and they have swapped. Geronimo is now in the slot. I want to see that utilization.
Yeah, and it's probably going to take more than a week to figure this out with those two players. On the Bears side, David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, the veteran Mike Davis.
Oh, we mentioned it yesterday, but cannot wait.
Now I'm really excited to see David Montgomery tomorrow night. The Packers allowed the 10th most rushing yards in 2018. It's a great opportunity at home for David Montgomery to get off to a quick start. If he's running, I know you guys joked yesterday, it's certainly a possibility because this happens all the time, that Mike Davis runs out there for the first snap because football. But what if it's not? What if it's David Montgomery snap 1? I mean, they sat him down after just like a little teeny bit of preseason work. They, pretty much awarded him this opportunity in the offense. What if Montgomery runs out there and takes the majority of that drive 1 snap? So are people going to lose their minds?
Yes.
This game right here is a perfect example of, okay, let's say that you went running back heavy early and you've got Aaron Jones and David Montgomery on your roster and you can play one of them. I would play David Montgomery over Aaron Jones. You're at home. You're favored. That's good for the lead running back. I know he's a rookie and we haven't seen it and we don't know what the timeshare is, but the capital spent on him, the way they utilized him and then sat him in the preseason.
The way they've talked about it and the way they have talked about we overused Tariq Cohen last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's full steam ahead for David opportunity.
David Montgomery, RB17 on the week. Tariq Cohen, RB29 on the week. That's where we have them as of right now. You can get all of the rankings at thefantasyfootballers.com. If you support the show at jointhefoot.com, you also get flex rankings. You get more than 2 player start-sit comparisons. You get
premium projections.
Yeah, you get the projections on the week. But very excited to see what Montgomery has in store for the Packers in Week 1 at home. Mitch Trubisky.
I don't hate it.
Right?
I don't hate it.
At home against another team that could score on the Packers or on the Bears defense.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but hopefully you have a better option because it's Week 1. We're not streaming yet.
No, and so in that case, you probably aren't playing Mitch Trubisky.
No, just saying if you got him, I don't hate it.
I want to see the way this offense looks to start the year. Mitch Trubisky's second season with Matt Nagy, Allen Robinson's second season in the system, another year removed from the injury, and maybe he can be more consistent. Maybe he can be more regularly targeted and healthy on the field. He had a monster playoff game. He was 10 for 143-1 against Philadelphia.
Saw 7 or more targets in 7 of his last 8 games. You saw it that Allen Robinson, as the season progressed, he did become more involved. He was coming off the ACL, which it's very difficult for us as fantasy players to remember all of the context of which these players started the year, but that's where he was. And for Mitch Trubisky, does he go back to running? Because he averaged almost 5 rushing attempts per game, which is that's nice. Those are some nice numbers for your quarterback. But once he hurt his shoulder about 2/3 or so through the season, that's when he stopped running around. That's when his fantasy production went right back into the toilet. So if I'm watching anything from Mitch, that's what I'm looking for.
100%, because the splits between the first half and the second half of the year were massively different with his rushing attempts. I believe that was because of the shoulder injury, which leads me to then conclude that because he's healthy right now, he's able to run, he's able to get out of the pocket. That's a big part of his tool set. I expect him to be a mobile rushing quarterback this season.
So, obviously, Vegas has the Bears as 3-point favorites. As we conclude this matchup breakdown, I would love to get a Game 1 pick from you guys.
As in
who wins the game?
Who wins the game?
Who do you think wins the first game of the NFL season?
Chicago.
Now, Jason, I know you'll be tempted to take both teams.
Sorry, Al.
To guarantee that you'll be right in this situation. But I'm going to encourage you to pick one.
The Green Bay Bears. No, I am going to take. I'm gonna take the Bears.
Take the Bears at home
in a sadly lower scoring game. I'm going to take them 24-17.
Okay, Mike, make your pick here.
The Bears.
You got the Bears as well. Well, I'll be the contrarian then. I think the Packers. I think the Packers squeak it out. I think they squeak it out in Week 1. I think Mitch Trubisky is put into a position where he's got a final drive to come back and tie the game up, and shucks, he doesn't do it.
Now, hey, to be fair to Mitch, the last time we saw him trying to catch up, like he had to lead the team down, he did. He did it in a great way. There was just somebody else who let the team down.
Was it a kicker, Mike?
It was.
Was it not so boom boom as bad maybe?
No, it was rough.
But all right, I'm excited. As a reminder, I said it earlier, fantasy forecasts, the first half of the games we'll review tomorrow. Our starts of the week for Week 1.
You guys should probably get those in, by the way.
Oh, no, you dirty dog! You dirty dog!
Yes! Mid-season form already!
Mike is already in mid-season form. He snuck into tomorrow's show, Doc. He put his starts of the week.
I did it yesterday.
Oh, my goodness. You're very, very sneaky. Then he breaks it out on the show. Don't forget to go to FootClanGiveaway.com. You can win a signed Alvin Kamara jersey. That is courtesy of Pristine Auction, the show sponsor, the studio sponsor. A signed Saquon jersey, $88 yesterday on the show. And that is it for today's episode of the Fantasy Footballers. Thank you for subscribing, tuning in, listening. Jason, I think the Green Bay Bears have a great shot tomorrow night. So we'll catch you tomorrow.
Yes, we will, Foot Clan. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.
This episode was brought to you by Head & Shoulders and Walmart. No matter where you fall on the offense versus defense debate, Head & Shoulders will give you a 100% flake-free scalp because it's offense.
It's defense, Mike.
Ew, sure. Did you know that Troy Polamalu's hair was insured for $1 million buckaroonies by Head & Shoulders in 2010? Check out Head & Shoulders at Walmart.com or look and find it at your local Walmart store.